The White House just released the crypto bulls, and we have to talk about this because I do believe going into September, this market is going to go absolutely crazy, just like it did in July. We need to prepare right now because this window of opportunity in front of us is only going to last a short time. And what window of opportunity am I talking about? Well, if we think about crypto right now on the day, it looks pretty good. But on the weekly, we still have a red C in front of us where this is giving us an opportunity to buy up altcoins on the low still. This time will not last forever. It's going to be short-lived. I said it many times over in the past as well. Any significant pullback will be short-lived. For an example, XRP, right? XRP still might be down on the weekly, but look at XRP right now. We hit that low of $2.76. We're already back to $3.09. These moves are being short-lived in this market, so you have to take these opportunities when they hit. Now, talking about the market real quick, let's refresh. So the overall market cap is up to 3.77 trillion again, fear and greed at 55. If we are taking a quick look at the crypto market cap itself, and let's actually zoom in real quick. Let's look at this a little bit more. So we hit about 3.62 trillion. We're back to 3.77 trillion. This is a very strong bounce already. The top 100 index still looking pretty good here, nothing too crazy. But the main thing that I'm watching here is Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, because while Bitcoin is hovering around 115K, Ethereum is back to 3,700. It's up 4.38% compared to Bitcoin's 0.24% on the daily. Guys, it's Ethereum season. We are in that phase 2, just like I said. And in terms of the altcoin market is starting to quickly outpace Bitcoin, which is, great to see. We're at about 43 out of 100. We're not yet in alt season, but we are getting close to that phase 2 really, hitting big in a huge way. And then after phase 2, we'll be going into phase 3, which will be the start of altcoins. But we love to see Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin on the daily. There's been a lot of buy pressure on Ethereum as well from like Tom Lee and other companies as well. So, when we think about Ethereum, it's red hot right now. But in terms of Bitcoin, what do we want to see with Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin might just hover around this 115K zone a bit until liquidations hit. We'll talk about that. But we did hold the 112.4K zone on the daily. We shouldn't see any closes below this level if Bitcoin is going to retain, this bullish status on the chart right now. If we do lose this level, then we flip bearish. But right now, things are looking pretty good. We need to flip this zone right here, this level of around like 114.7K. We already flipped that. The next target here is actually flipping 117.2K. Now, the second that we flip this level, this 117K.2K level, this is when we start to have a violent surge on Bitcoin, in my opinion. I've talked about this, right? If we go over here, I said, I think it's time for a violent recovery to begin. I said this yesterday. I said, let's get a daily close over 117K and it's over for the bears. The exact level is 117.2K. Why? Why is this so crucial? Because this is daily support all throughout July. We flip this, we could build a floor on this and then just break above 120K. The second that happens, it's over for the bears. We target 130K very quick on Bitcoin. Also, if we could break over 117K, we could wipe out a ton of leverage here. So 117K, the leverage itself could be a short squeeze to 120K on Bitcoin, which will be very exciting to watch. In terms of Ethereum already broke over that midline. Now, the next target here is 38, almost 3,900. If we could break over 3,900, we target that $4,000 level. This has acted as major resistance during this entire cycle so far, even going back to 2024. So, if we think about this, breaking over this high level, and the target mainly is, we'll just go off of the high from our previous high. 4,100. We break over 4,100 and we target the 2021 all-time high. We, have it back here. This is actually wrong. I don't know what is going on with their chart here, but it's about $5,000 almost on Ethereum. It's like 48 something. But yeah, once we break over this $4,100 level, Ethereum is going to go crazy. So the market is still looking very, very good here. In terms of XRP, we already talked about it, right? XRP is getting close to this midline retest at around like $3.10. We have to break over this. If we can manage to break over this and volume really kind of increases on XRP, we could target this high wick here at about roughly $3.32. If we could break over that, create a higher high, we will retarget that $3.55 level on XRP. And this will happen fast, right? So I'm definitely focused on, how the market reacts during this week. It's been a very good week already for stocks. They opened up in a very big green way today, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And in terms of the Fed September rate cut, guys, the odds surged to 90%, just as I did assume it will, right? Over the last last week, technically, the rate cut odds dropped. It was actually about like roughly 60%. Now they're at 90%. I figured that as we get closer to September, we would see the surge, but it already surged in the first week of August. So this is crazy to see. They're at 94.4% compared to, what we saw before. It was like almost 60%. October is also at 98.4%. December 99.7%. So it looks like we're getting a rate cut decision in all three of these months. So if we think about 3 rate cuts right in a row from September to October to even December, this could wrap up the season for crypto and for stocks in a very, very bullish way. So this is crazy. And on top of this, right, we just witnessed a huge update from the White House. So here we actually have it breaking. The U.S. White House crypto executive director Bo Hines releases the Bitcoin bulls. Now, it's actually technically the crypto bulls. Of course, Bitcoin maxis will be Bitcoin maxis, but check this out.
All right, Bo, so you've got some breaking news for us this morning. Tell us what the plan is.
Yeah, well, look, first and foremost, I just want to thank President Trump and our brilliant AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, for all the hard work that they've put in to this report and really just doing what they can to help this industry. This is an industry that's been beaten down and kicked down over the course of the last decade and a half, more specifically under the Biden regime. All the blue tape that they had to fight through, the headwinds that they were pushing through just to innovate here in the United States is quite remarkable. And, the president created this working group on digital assets in which I'm the executive director, and he tasked us with working across relevant agencies to produce a list of comprehensive regulations and reforms and recommendations that would create a clean and robust framework so industry knows what the rules of the road are. This is no longer policy making through prosecution. We're creating an environment that will allow for these innovators to thrive and build here in the United States.
So can you give us more specifics about what this is going to look like and what these recommendations are?
Sure. So, we've looked at this in really 3 phases. We've had the demolition phase, removing a lot of the blue tape that existed, eradicating Operation Choke Point 2.0, which was a real thing under the Biden regime. What this was, basically, for your viewers, was an attempt to prevent digital asset firms from interacting with traditional financial institutional players. And so what we've done is we've removed a lot of that blue tape that existed there, those overburdensome regulations. Then we work on construction, which construction here is a stablecoin framework, which we've actually had signed into law in this past week with the Genius Act. This is basically a digital dollar. It updates the archaic payment rails within our system. It creates more expeditious and transparent, more cost-effective transactions for the American people. And it also secures U.S. dollar global dominance for decades to come. But the other piece of legislation that we still have to work on is market structure. And we have clarity coming out of the House. Both of these bills received immense bipartisan support. So what you'll see in this report is we talk about the bones of market structure, everything that they got right in clarity, what we'd like to see the Senate chamber do and adopt as they push this second piece forward on the legislative agenda. Then we look at implementation. We're talking about tax reforms in this report. We're talking about how we protect consumers in this report. This is over a 160-page document. It's quite robust, but we're really excited about it. And I just want to thank all the participants of the working group that contributed to this. Paul Atkins over at the SEC, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, so many folks that have done so much to propel this industry forward and make sure that the United States is the leader in digital asset financial technology.
So yeah, when we think about what's been happening, this is causing the entire crypto market to be put on center stage. Now, on top of that, we just witnessed a few big updates. The CFTC launches an initiative to enable spot crypto trading on federally registered exchanges. This is a huge one. This is massive. And then also we got another big update from the White House, which was the White House is preparing an executive order to target banks that discriminate against conservatives and crypto companies, addressing debanking practices with potential fines and penalties. And here we actually have the full breakdown from Nate Garashi. So if we actually look at this, we have the White House is preparing to step up pressure against big banks over perceived discrimination against conservatives and crypto companies with an executive order that threatens to fine lenders that drop customers for political reasons. And then over here we have conservatives for years have accused banks of denying them services on political or religious grounds, and cryptocurrency companies have said they were shut out of banking services under the Biden administration, which we know is true under Operation Choke Point 2.0. And we have banks, for their part, have said their decisions are driven by legal, regulatory, or financial risk, including those stemming from the U.S.'s anti-money laundering laws. They have blamed regulatory pressure for prior decisions to largely steer clear of the crypto industry. And now all of this is changing. We just witnessed over the last roughly 7 days, right? Because it goes back to last week. I mean, guys, the entire crypto space has changed in the US. The tone around crypto has changed. Everything around crypto is changing. And this is why when we think about what just happened in the market, this nice little sell-off, okay, that everyone was kind of panicky over. I mean, the drop on Bitcoin was what? A 9% drop. The drop on XRP might have been a little bit more significant. It's an altcoin, right? Was down 25%. Ethereum was down. Let's take a quick look at this. Ethereum was down about 14.5%. Guys, this is why you need to take these drops very serious for buying opportunities. Because now, once we start to clear levels, once we start to liquidate these shorts, the charts are going to wake up in a huge way. They already started to. Ethereum is already up off of these lows, 9+%, almost 10%. XRP is already up off of those lows, almost 13%. So when we think about what's happening here, the recovery is already in process. And stocks are looking extremely good as well. We've taken a look at a few things already over the last couple days, and I've updated the Discord. I even gave you guys an update last night, during last night's video as well. I do think that we are in for a violent recovery going forward, and I think that a lot of people are just sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if we go lower, but we already tapped significant levels on the charts. We've already started to see the recovery happen. Now, we just wait patiently for those levels to be tapped on the charts and broken over, and it could take a day or two, it could take a week. It doesn't matter, right? We just take this one day at a time and know that we are going higher in the short to midterm. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.